Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, Ram fans. How are you tonight? Swollapalooza Thursday. I'm Steve Ivy. Welcome. We got a lot of ground to cover. These last few weeks have been crazy. I already have a comment from my buddy Jake Shilgen. Let's go. We back up, Swole. We back up. We talk like that in Colorado now, don't we, Jake? We'll get to the portal stuff in a little bit. First, I just want to say thanks for joining me. I don't expect a very big crowd tonight, but obviously it'll be a good crowd because of you guys that are interested in what's been going on in the portal. And feel free to share your comments, your questions. I'll do my best to answer. But it has been a hectic several weeks. I started thinking of the calendar, and it's really. I mean, it seems like I was just in Seattle yesterday, and then it also seems like it was a year ago. So much stuff has gone on. Obviously, the Mountain West Conference tournament, followed by a weekend in Seattle, a great weekend. Come back home on Monday, and Coach Nico Medved, of course, took the job in Minnesota, and they announced that. Wednesday, they announced Ali Farokhmanesh as the new head coach of Colorado State University, the 21st head coach. And that was on a Wednesday. We did a show on Wednesday, and we had a lot of fun doing that. And then I did a Swollapalooza Thursday show to kind of kick off the early days of the portal with Brandon Goebel. And I would encourage you, if you want to go back and get a little bit of clairvoyance of what's going on, Brandon was very linked into what's going on, not just in the overall portal, but also with what's been going on with CSU behind the scenes. Brandon is tied in with a lot of people in this industry, including agents, so he knows a lot of what's going on. And then, lo and behold, the following week, the first week, no one in the portal, but then all of a sudden we had Jalen Crocker Johnson in the portal. And within a day, going to a day or two, he was had committed to Minnesota to join Coach Medved, which was fine. And more power to him. We celebrate that. But the day later, Colorado State announced Carrie Booth coming here from Illinois. First stop was Notre Dame. It was the third time CSU had recruited Carrie. The first time was out of high school. Second time was out of the portal when he was leaving Notre Dame. And the third time was a charm. He basically 55th ranked player, prep player in the class of 2023. Comes here with 2 years of eligibility and a lot of potential. So we're excited for that. And then within a couple of days of that, we had Jace Butler announced. And he was a freshman at the University of Washington, had been recruited by Ali, originally committed to Illinois, and then decided to go to Washington and decided to leave. Who knows what was going on there, but Ali used his relationship with Butler, who was a top 100 player as well, 4-star player, and Bay Area High School Player of the Year, very talented player. So within days, Ali had lined up a couple of players, and then it was and used a lot of his relationships. But then the fun really started, and Kyan Evans went into the portal, and once he went into the portal, I think we pretty much knew. Everybody was hoping he could come back, and people were asking questions. And I think I may have covered it 2 weeks ago. I said I didn't think he was better than 50-50. And in fact, he was probably more like 80-20. Coach Medved was very interested in him. And obviously, Ali was very interested in keeping Kyan here. But those offers started flying, and it's real hard to keep up with those offers. And when the University of North Carolina comes a knocking, that's a blue blood. It's not my favorite blue blood. As you know, I went to Duke, and 8 miles down the road was University of North Carolina. Bitter rivals, but you will not hear me say anything other than the fact that they are a blue blood program. And Chapel Hill is a great college town. And so we knew we saw Kyan go in the portal. And that immediately triggered CSU, and Ali was already working on things. And the first player that we got out of the portal, and that was within a couple of days of Kyan going into the portal, was a young man named Josh Pasquarelli. And I just lost. There we go. I thought I lost my screen. Where am I? Where am I? I don't know if you guys can see me. I can't see me, but let me pull this up. Let's see if we can get Josh up on the screen here. I don't know what's going on, gang. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, everybody can see me. I can't see me. Something has happened with my.
I can see you and hear you.
Yeah, my wife can see me, so she's helping me out. She's my. So let's share this. Oh, Steve's not there.
I
Oh,
can't hear you now.
there we go. Can you hear me now?
No,
You can't hear me. Oh no.
I can hear you.
Technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on here, gang.
Now I can hear you.
Now we can hear me. My wife is she's my producer right now. Anyway, Josh came in the portal, and Ali was all over him. This is a player that 6'3", 195 pounds, played for Marist in Mid-Atlantic Athletic Conference. A decent conference, not a high level conference, but a decent conference. Other schools there. You had Siena. You've got I'm trying to remember all of them. But he was a first team all conference player, and also you didn't really read much of this. So he's all Mid Atlantic Athletic Conference, but he was first team all district with the NABC, the National Association of Basketball Coaches, where they pick a first team and a second team. He was first team, and that is a district that includes New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And you got some pretty good basketball teams in New York. So he made the first team in the NABC district. Just to put that into perspective, only one player from CSU made all district this year. That was Neek Clifford. So a heck of a player, averaged about 16 points a game, a good 3-point shooter, nearly 40%, 39%, made about 2.7 threes per game, 51% from two, 77% from the free throw line. This is a guy who's very comfortable with the ball in his hands, very comfortable creating his own shot. So I'm getting tired of not seeing me. I don't know what's going on here. So let me see what I can do here. I have no idea why I lost me. We are going to try something different. Sorry, I got a backup plan. Let me, let's try this. It may be kind of squirrely. Sorry, gang. Technical difficulties. Haven't been on in a couple of weeks. And sometimes stuff happens, huh? We'll get going. We'll get going. Who's that guy? Who is that guy? Can you hear me okay now? Let's turn that mic off. I'll operate off of my iPad. I'm gonna have to do that. Sorry about that, gang. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Didn't anticipate these production problems. Aaron, golly, it's a tough crowd. Let's go here. Aaron, a tough crowd here. More Robin, less Steve. That's pretty good too. But let's get back. We'll get back to Mr. Pasquarelli. Very good player. Adds scoring. And when we talked about the last show, I'll look into this computer now. When we talked about the last show, we talked about how we lost a lot of scoring, and it was while we got Kerry Booth and while we got Jace Butler, they weren't coming off huge years. Booth really didn't play much, and Butler didn't play much. And even though there's a lot of potential, CSU had to replace a lot of scoring. And we had Neek Clifford, Jalen Lake, Kyan Evans, Jalen Crocker Johnson, the 4 leading scorers on the team, and we also lost 3 bench players. Bowen Bourne, Ethan Morton, Keyshawn Williams went into the portal as well. That's one of the things that came. Anyway, let's get this off here. If you added up the total of the number of points that CSU was losing off of last year's team, it was about 64 points a game, and that's a lot. You give up a lot of production, and so it was really, really important to start lining up scorers. And Pasquarelli was the very first domino to fall, and a very important domino in the grand scheme of things. He's a scorer, a lethal scorer. Very good with the ball in his hands. He can distribute the ball, but he's really more of a scorer. So 16 a game, and all conference, all district as well. So heck of a player, heck of a grab for Ali to start with. And not a normal region for CSU to recruit. So you're talking about high activity, a lot of effort out of the staff going around the country to find players that they thought fit. And it's not just finding production, but it's finding fit as well. So that was key and critical, is finding people that can come in and really fit. And so the first one was Pasquarelli, and then the second one happened right after Kyan Evans, I believe, announced he was going to North Carolina, and it's a young man named Brandon Recksteiner, and he's a transfer. Golly, it's just no fun, gang. my computer's being goofy. Let's share another screen. Let's get the Recksteiner one up. And this was the announcement here. And a point guard, 6'1", 185 pounds, built very, very, very solidly, from Virginia Tech. Reichsteiner was a very high, he was a high level recruit, 4-star recruit out of high school. And he was about 115th in the class of 2023. Just to put that in perspective, Kerry Booth was 55 in the class of 2023. But I did a little quick thing talking about, I did something on Twitter. I'm not going to pull it up, but it talked about the players in the Mountain West, and these were all starters who had done very well that were in the group behind him. And it seems to be a sweet spot in the Mountain West, players between, anywhere from 75 to 150 in the 247 recruiting rankings. As you recall, Neek Clifford was about just over 100, right? Between 100 and 110. Ethan Morton was about 140. But there's all kinds of other good players that were in the high 90s, high 80s. Ian Martinez from Utah State was, I believe, 75.
Reese Waters from who's at San Diego State, who set out this year, is also in that about 75 or 85 range. And so you have lots of good players in that sweet spot. And there were lots of starters in the Mountain West. If I recall, B.J. Davis, who started for San Diego State, was at about 130. Bunch of good players there. So Reichsteiner is a very, very good player, very high recruit. Same class as Kyan Evans and a much higher recruit than Kyan Evans. I want to go back to one other thing, and I'll get to it in a sec. Actually, I'll talk about it now, but we'll really cover the whole thing when I list out the first four portal guys. Pasquarelli, when he first entered the portal, was ranked ahead of Kyan Evans in the portal, and he's subsequently been put behind him. Once Kyan went to North Carolina, all of a sudden Kyan magically appeared ahead of Pasquarelli, and so it's no big deal. But the fact that they're so close and lumped so close together, you're looking at a player that compares very favorably to Kyan Evans. So I wanted to mention that about Pasquarelli. Rechsteiner will be an interesting player. He averaged about, I think, 7 points. Let's see. Let me look at my notes here. 7 points, 2.8 assists, 2.8 assists, 2.2 turnovers per game. A little high on the turnover rate. 49% field goal percentage from 2, 30% from 3, 82% free throw shooter. A little lower than we'd like to see on the 3-point range, 3-point rate percentage. But this kid can play. He can create his own shot. He's good on the bounce. He'll get a chance within this team to really build up and to really take advantage of a system that I think will be a little more friendly to his type of game. And so I'm excited to have him along. And of course, that was an important get right away. We knew Evans was gone right away, point guard. So scoring and a point guard to run the offense. Not that Pasquarelli couldn't handle the ball and be kind of a lead guard. Not that some of the other guys can't, but it's nice to have an experienced person. He started half of the games for Virginia Tech. Rechsteiner did. Another interesting fact about him, if you aren't already aware, is his dad is Scott Steiner of the Steiner Brothers, WWE. And so we have another wrestling family coming to CSU. If you remember Maya Lesnar, those of you who are aware, NCAA indoor shot put champion last year. I think she finished 4th this year, maybe 5th. But a top weight person in the NCAA in track and field, daughter of Brock Lesnar. So another WWE family. And I can't wait. I'm hoping I get to meet Scott Steiner. I'm hoping he's a father that comes to games just like all the other parents do, because I've got to ask him about he wrestled a guy named Mick Foley, and Mick went to my high school, Ward Melville High School on Long Island. And if you were around a few months ago, I told the story of Mick Foley's dad was the basketball coach of my high school. Mick Foley's dad cut me in 11th grade and basically ended my basketball career, other than intramurals in college and rec league kind of stuff. So I want to talk to Steiner and see if maybe he'll challenge Mick Foley to some kind of contest to help me out. Maybe get a little revenge on the Foley family for ending my basketball career. Anyway, I'm just having fun. Come on, it's here we go. Lee with a comment. Hard to judge him off past year. Hokies a very poor team. I don't know what's going on there. Virginia Tech has had a really good program, and they've gradually gone downhill. Their coach went to Penn State. What was his name? Mike Rhodes? Went to Penn State, and they brought in the guy from Wofford, I think, and they've been struggling for a couple of years. And you know, if you remember, you go back a few years, Buzz Williams was there several years ago. Dale Layer on the sidelines with Buzz. Buzz now at Maryland after making the move from Virginia Tech. Buzz went to Texas A&M and then on to Maryland, and I'm pretty sure Dale has followed him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, Lee. I think it's going to be a very interesting group of people that he'll get to play with in a system that I think will be a little more friendly to him. So that's Brandon. I'm excited to have him. So here we go. We got a scorer. We got somebody who I think will be able to score 10 points a game in the system with CSU. He's got range. He's got shooting range. Got to improve the percentage. Got to improve the turnover rate. But if you look back to what Kyan Evans did when he first started playing for CSU, and even early this year, Kyan struggled. Kyan definitely struggled to. He turned the ball over a little bit, and his assist to turnover ratio wasn't much better than Brandon's was. So hopefully the system and getting familiar with the system, we'll see him really take advantage of, like I said, a high skill, high potential player. So there we go. There was the first four, and now you're looking. And we talked a couple of weeks ago. We talked about getting some scoring on the wing. We knew we had three bigs coming back with Rashawn Mbemba, Kyle Jorgensen, Nikola Joppa. Basically, three guys that played the five, that shared the five position. I know Kyle Jorgensen had talked about maybe trying to learn a little bit of the four and maybe and be able to move back and forth between the 4 and 5, similar to what Crocker Johnson had to do last year. But basically fives, and we needed to get kind of 3s and 4s and get some scoring. So the next person up was this man, Augustinus. I'm going to say Kiadoulis. I don't know if it's Kiadoulis or Kiadoulis, but it's Augustinus, not Augustinius. And we had a little fun on social media today. My friend Brandon Goebel was out and commented about if we don't do a headband night similar to what we did for Headband Joe next year, we're missing it because he does wear a headband. And of course, somebody fired back that Augustinus is known as Augie, and people were kind of skeptical. Yeah, here we go. Apparently, he goes by Augie. People were skeptical of Headband Augie, and I said, we need to maybe start calling him Gus. I think Headband Gus is maybe a better moniker for him. But anyway, let's get into talking about him. 6'8", 215 pounds from Vilnius, Lithuania. Can anybody tell me a great fictional character who was born in Vilnius, Lithuania? You're good if you can. If you know this one, you're really, really good. I'll let you know in a couple of minutes because it's a fictional character from a great book and a movie that's just as good as the book. Anyway, this young man, good for. Let's see. Let's talk about his number. 6'8", 215. 2 years. Began at Indiana State. Really didn't play much. I'm not sure if he was hurt or not. Indiana State was actually pretty good last year. If you remember, they just Aaron knows. Aaron, there you go. Hunt for Red October. Sean Connery's character. Yes, it was. Captain Ramius was the name, and the book, Tom Clancy book, Hunt for Red October. Unbelievable movie, one of my absolute favorite movies. Aaron, I owe you so much. I need to buy you a really good beer or two, I think. Anyway, getting back to Augustinus, Augie, Headband Augie, 15.2 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 6'8", 215, 50% shooter from 2, 30% from 3, 81% from the free throw line, and someone very, very good at getting to the free throw line. So I would categorize him, if you look at his position, kind of a stretch four, can put the ball on the floor. Very, very typical, what I'd categorize as a Euro. So fundamental player, knows how to go to the basket, knows how to put the ball on the floor, knows how to set a screen, knows how to pass the ball. And I think he'll be, again, remember I talked about the points we lost. Here's 15 points. Will he score 15 for CSU? We don't know that. You don't know how many he's going to score, but he has shown the ability to score, and he will get better, and he will be in a system. He came from VMI in the Southern Conference. VMI, not a really, really strong team. Southern Conference is a good conference. It's every bit as good as the Big West. So the competition is, there's competition very similar to what you see with UC Irvine, UC San Diego. Those are teams that were very, very much NCAA tournament level teams, even though UC Irvine didn't get in. UC San Diego took Michigan all the way to the buzzer. Lee with a common instant starter at 4. I'll talk about this after we get through all the players, but I think you'll see lots of minutes out of him for sure. We need his points. We need his rebounding. You're looking at somebody, if you look statistically at his numbers, similar to what Josh Scott produced a couple of years ago in terms of points and rebounds, and in terms of shooting percentages. So we'll see. We'll see how he does. And then, that was just yesterday. And although I haven't seen the official announcement on it. I know it was revealed or released by Justin Michael and Kevin Lytle. Both of them were on this one. I had heard about it the day before and knew he was on a visit. And so it was exciting it was very exciting to hear that he had committed to CSU, played well against higher non-conference teams. Yeah, he did well. That's the one thing that I always look at, and all these guys have had games against kind of the higher ranked teams on their schedule in the non-conference portion of the schedule. There's two parts of that. Number one, sometimes you'll see guys do really, really well in those games because the scouting reports aren't really, really good, and they don't know who to necessarily. All they do is they don't have much tape, and they don't have much experience defending other teams. So sometimes you'll see numbers skewed in a good way. Sometimes guys will struggle, but I will say this: 15 points and 6 rebounds out of a power forward, stretch 4, and a guy who can get to the free throw line will be a very, very valuable addition. So, and that was just announced yesterday. And then, I went and did my graphic, and I put it out on social media today that I was going to do this show, and then I knew I was going to do it at 8:00, and I went to take the dog for a walk about 4:30 or so, and all of a sudden, my phone starts, making noises because people are shooting all kinds of texts and all kinds of stuff. And I get a note. I can't remember if it was who it was from. Might have been Dan Willis. Might have been Aaron. I can't remember. But they announced that a young man named Jevin Muniz had committed. And this is a 6'6", 215-pound. I'd call him a point forward. He's a junior. He's actually going to be the oldest player on the team. He's already played 3 years in college. He began his career at Delaware State, played 2 years there, was a second-team all-conference player his sophomore year, and averaged, I believe, about 16 points a game as a sophomore. Transferred to Florida Gulf Coast, a better conference, the Atlantic Sun. And his point totals were down, but his other numbers got really, really good in terms of general versatility, kind of a Swiss Army knife player and somebody who's going to be very, very important. So this year at Florida Gulf Coast, 11 points a game, 5.8 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and had a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. He was 4th in the Atlantic Sun, their conference. He was 4th in assists. And this is more of a point forward. This isn't necessarily a quote traditional point guard. So he's made a bit of a transitional role. He grew up in eastern Pennsylvania. I think he lists his hometown as Allentown. I've seen it also listed as Bethlehem. It's an area north of Philadelphia known as the Lehigh Valley. And what's interesting is, if you watch what I do during the regular season, I do a show on the Mountain West with a good friend, Tom Moser. Tom is from the East Coast. Tom was a coach in the Lehigh Valley, and he's got friends in the Lehigh Valley, and he's got friends who either coached with or against Jevin Muniz. And Tom actually sent me a text before any news got out regarding this young man and said, I know that he said, I know this kid, from friends, and he's looking at, he's very interested in CSU. And I was able to confirm that, yes, he was very, very interested in CSU. Let's pull up, I want to pull up his stuff. Let's share this. Here he is. Here's the young man. So I knew about him, and it seemed like weeks ago that Tom told me, and I checked my notes and I checked my text messages. It was only a week. CSU, this kid was very, very interested right away in CSU, and Tom said and Tom is a good judge of talent and good judge of character, said he'd be a real good fit at CSU. And lo and behold, he ended up committing today to CSU, and this is exciting. I wasn't sure that he was going to come because earlier in the week I saw a note from either him or I think it was his agent talking about all the different teams he was talking to, and there were about 15 teams, and some of them were, like. You saw UNLV on there, Oklahoma State. There were some pretty good names. But my experience is once players start coming up with lists, if you look at how CSU typically operates, they operate in the background, and you might see guys throw out lists that they've had interest from Colorado State. Very rarely do those people end up coming to Colorado State. I know Nico was like this, and Ali is very much like this. They operate, and they like to operate behind the scenes, and they like to work very closely with the people and find out. They do a lot of personality evaluation, making sure they fit, making sure they believe they're going to be part of a productive member of a very team-oriented program, and then they bring them out for a visit, and they like to do it very quietly. And so I didn't think I actually sent a note to Tom and I said I think we'll be out on Jevin Muniz. I said because it's getting a little too public, and the last thing you want to do is get into a bidding war. Not that CSU is broke, but you just don't know. And anyway, he committed today, and this was exciting. This is the sixth member of the class, and you've heard me. Okay, so I've been talking about the points. This is 11 points, so we got 15 points out of Augie, so that's 26, and we got 16 out of Pasquarelli, so that's 42, and we got 7 out of Recksteiner, so that's 49, and we got 2 years ago we got 6 points out of Booth, and we got a few points out of Butler, and so we're looking at almost 60 points out of those 6 guys. And so we lost 5 and about 64 points, and now we have 6 players, and we got points. And we got players that fit needs and fit positions, and we don't have to rely on freshmen and redshirt freshmen to fill in those spots. They can grow and develop as Ali sees fit, and that's what's exciting. That's the great part about this team. There's basically Muniz is the only player who will be in his 4th year. Everybody else is a 3rd year or 2nd year player, or redshirt freshman, or the 2 freshmen coming in as well. We have 2 very talented freshmen coming in. and they can compete and they can play hard and try and earn spots on the floor, but there won't be pressure on them where they absolutely have to be successful right out of the chute. So I'm going to get into evaluating the class and just put it in perspective to the rest of the Mountain West. But before I do that, I threatened to do something, and let's pull this off the screen. Let's go. This is important. This is what's going on in Colorado this week. We're retiring jerseys in Colorado, and this number 2, it's backwards on the whatever. My number 2. This is the jersey that I got from the Fight Like a Ram with UC Health. You've noticed a certain head coach has decided he's going to retire his son's number 2 jersey at that what hole down south. I've decided to unilaterally retire my number 2 jersey. John Weber, I'm sorry. I'm going to push you around just like Dion pushes Rick George around. I want no gas on this. I want nothing but support. We're retiring number 2. That's my comment. I've now retired a jersey. Anybody can unilaterally decide to retire a jersey in Colorado this week. So feel free. Tell me what jersey you'd retire if you wanted to go ahead. Sorry, that's the only way I know how to address nonsense. Lee with a comment here: best size in a long time, top to bottom. Yeah, it's and the one thing I want to talk about, I don't list just heights, but I list weights. And if you look at these guys, there's room for a little bit of growth, but Muniz, 6'6", 215, that's pretty good size. Neek was 210, so a little bigger than Neek at 6'6". You look at, I'll leave Kerry Booth. I want to talk about Kerry Booth in a second. Jace Butler listed at 6'4", 180. I think he's going to end up closer to 200 pounds. He's got a big frame. Pasquarelli, 195. He's a workhorse. Kiadulis, 215. Rex Steiner, 185, 6'1", 185. Built like a rock. Built like a wrestler. Definitely won't get pushed around. So we don't just have, and you look at, we got Mbemba at 250. Jorgensen will end up being about 230, 235 by the time next year rolls around. Joppa will end up being 230 to 240. Here we go, Taylor, the only number 2 jersey retirement I recognize this week. Thank you. I appreciate it. I will still wear it, and I'll wear it with pride, but it is retired. And if I see it on the floor, I do want you to know I did earn it too. The only time it was worn by a player with my name on it was in 2022 when Jalen Scott wore it. He sat on the bench. I will have you know that number and that jersey produced the only home loss that year in Moby. That was our ranked team that ended up as a 6th seed in the NCAAs. Our only home loss was Fight Like a Ram Day. And we lost 88-74 in that final score. If anybody remembers that game, that flattered CSU, that final score, only losing by 14. We were not in the game. And Isaiah Stevens had to go off in the last 10 minutes, scored 35 points just to make it look respectable at 88-74. But it doesn't matter. 0-1 definitely needs to be retired. And thank you, Taylor, for supporting me. I really believe it should be. I have earned it. I have earned the right to have it retired. Anyway, getting back to the team, I want to put something up that shows, and it doesn't have. This is 247. The ranking of the. Let's get this up here. Sorry if I'm a I'm trying to operate off of two different computers, and here we go. So 247 does recruiting rankings, and this is how the Mountain West looks right now in terms of recruiting rankings. And this has been, this does not include the two players that were added yesterday and today. This doesn't include Augie, Headband Augie, and Mr. Muniz. So it only includes 4 players, and they're still ranked higher than everybody else. This was important. Excuse me. I don't want to get carried away, as I usually do. This was important because CSU had a lot of players to replace. We had 5 that we lost from the program. As you heard, 64 points is a lot of points that we lost with Clifford, Nick Clifford, Jalen Lake, Kyan Evans, Jalen Crocker Johnson out of the starting lineup, only returning 1 starter, Rashawn Mbemba, and then losing 3 important bench players in Bowen Bourne, Ethan Morton, and Keyshawn Williams. So we had to do well in the portal, and I cannot think of possibly doing. I just can't think you can do much better than this. Getting the initial 2. What I'd categorize as 2 real, the start with Kerry Booth and Jace Butler, relying on those relationships that I mentioned, high-level recruits, a lot of potential. They'll grow with this program. But the next 4 players, and it's been a whirlwind. It has been crazy. But these 4 players, 2 of them are in these rankings, 2 of them aren't, and we're still ranked highly. Does that mean we're going to win the Mountain West? Well, just because we won the portal doesn't mean we're going to win the Mountain West. San Diego State returns a lot of good players, more than we return, and so they're adding portal players that are really more or less starters, more part-time starter, solid bench players. So they didn't do necessarily as well as we did in the portal, but they didn't have to because they've got guys like Magoon Guath, Miles Bird, B.J. Davis, a couple of the freshmen, Pharaoh Compton, and I forget the other one's name, but they've got a lot of good players coming back. And so it's going to be, they had a good portal. Boise State brought in 2 good players. They have 3 players that are coming back. They lost 3 important ones, 2 all-conference players in Tyson Degenhart and Alvaro Cardenas. They lost Omar Stanley, lost Emmanuel Ugbo to the portal, but they brought back 3 guys: R.J. Keene, Andrew Meadow, and Pearson Carmichael. That'll be good, solid players. And the 2 they added are very, very good. They got a guy out of Xavier who's a West Coast, actually grew up in Boise, but played his prep basketball in Southern California. And he's a good player, 6'11", a lot like a Nick Davidson kind of player, who, by the way, left Nevada. And then they got a point guard who's highly ranked out of high school, played 2 years for UCLA, and obviously wasn't as good as Donovan Dent, because once Dent signed, he went into the portal and left. So his last name is Andrews, but 2 good players. So Boise will be decent as well. UNLV got completely decimated. They got a long way to go to fill out a roster. New Mexico got completely decimated. They've added 2, according to 247, but also a junior college player. Wyoming's up to 2 players. The rest of these teams, Nevada has 2, one of whom's okay, one of whom is marginal. Utah State has added 1. They have a few good players coming back, obviously, but they've lost a few as well to the portal. San Jose State losing a player to San Diego State, by the way, terrible. They lost their Davis, the kid out of England who scored about 11 points a game, come off the bench and do pretty well. Tore up San Diego State to the tune of 20 plus both times they played him. He's now with San Diego State. Air Force and Fresno at the bottom. I have no idea what's going on in Fresno. So CSU, obviously, this has been a haul, just an absolute haul. And here we go. Dylan Andrews, best boys yet. Yeah, Lee, he's a good player. What I this is me and my editorializing, which I like to do. I thought Dylan Andrews was good. They had another guard who's leaving as well, whose name escapes me. Donovan Dent went there and got $3 million to play there. And I wouldn't play for that coach if he paid me $10 million. I think Dent could have gone to Kentucky, or he could have gone to North Carolina, and Kyan would have gone somewhere else and been happy somewhere else. But Andrews is a good player, and I think they were happy to get out of there. I think that I don't like Mick Cronin. I just don't think he's very good. Aaron with a comment here. Air Force needs to drop. They need to figure out a solution to get into a lower level league. It is virtually impossible for them to be competitive. They can't take transfers, and they have a hard time maintaining players. But I will tell you this as well, Aaron. If they made a coaching change, they'd have a better chance of being successful. Part of the reason that they are struggling is they have a coach that the players do not want to play for. Once they get exposed to him, they leave. And it's very unusual now for good players who play to stay. They graduated a bunch of seniors. They had no junior class. They lost their good sophomore, Luke Carney. They lost a good freshman, last name of Cooper, that transferred to Iowa, of all people. He went to a Big Ten school. They have good players. They bring them in, they play them, but they don't want to stay because the coaches. It's not a very happy environment. Yeah, playing the Patriot. I think they should be in the Summit League. I think they'd be. You'd be much more competitive in the Summit League. Have a good natural rivalry with DU. Aaron saying Fresno as a coach, no one wants to play for. Want to bet? Sorry. Ha 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 ha. I'm not sure about that. I think those people are just happy to get out of there. That program is an absolute mess. They are underfunded. There's no NIL. There's no fans. There's no nothing. And they're coming to the Pac-12 to play basketball next year. They're going to be at the bottom of the Mountain West. They're right now expected to be worse than Air Force. So I don't want to turn this into a talking about them. It is an absolute disaster there, and it is sad because 5, 6, 7 years ago, they won the tournament. If you go back, I think it was 2016, maybe 9 years ago. They won they represented the Mountain West in the NCAAs. They had some good teams, and Rodney Terry was there. Justin Hudson came in, and all of a sudden the support stopped. So lo and behold, that program is completely down the tubes. Sad. So anyway, that's the gist of it. I am excited. Obviously, yeah. Here we go. Leave with a comment. Good Frosh. Yeah, they're big. I'm spacing on names. Good big man. He started his career at Drake, redshirted at Drake, and then went to Fresno, and had a really good year. A lot of double doubles, and he'll fit well with Alford. I'm not sure how much of a. It's really hard to evaluate what kind of winning basketball those kids played at Fresno. Some of them looked pretty good, and then other times they just looked horrible. But anyway, it was kind of God. Yeah, his name is Casey. A good player. A lot of people were looking at him. A lot of people were looking at him throughout the Mountain West. Let me try something here. I'm trying something. No. I'm just getting tired of. Sorry, I get tired of this other stuff. There I am. I'm back. We'll wrap it up pretty soon. Anyway, I am pumped. I think this has been an exceptional week to 2 weeks. It, like I said, it feels like weeks ago, months ago, that CSU was playing in the tournament, and it was only like 3 weeks ago. They were 3 weeks ago on Friday. They were beating Memphis, and then obviously the coaching change, and then the first week of portals, and now this. And I can report, I do have it from a great source. CSU is done in the portal. We are done. We have a roster of 13 players, 5 returners, and I haven't talked about them. Obviously, we talked about them before, but Mbemba, Joppa, Jorgensen, and then a couple of redshirt freshmen, Darnez Slater and John McConan. They'll be competing for all of them, competing for minutes and working hard. This is a good question. Do you feel McIver definitely will play backup point and Tedeschi redshirt? I don't feel like I know anything right now until I actually see him. There's a chance JoJo, he could redshirt as well. I don't know. It's a good question, and I hope to answer that. And not, I don't know if we'll get much of an answer. I sent a note to Ali just to verify, are we done? And we are at 13. We had 5 returners, 6 portal players, and two freshmen coming in. We also have a 14th player, Charlie Dortch, who's a walk-on, and I'm sure they'll look to. I don't know if they'll look to get another walk-on or not, but we're basically done. And I confirmed that with Ali, and then I said, well, I want to let the dust settle, and then I'll bring you on to talk about the roster. So in a few weeks, that's a question we can probably we can talk about. Lee, Aaron, now Ali can get to recruiting the next crop of high school players. That's we get to sit back and relax as fans. Isn't that wonderful? We get to go to work and not worry about this stuff. And then it's crazy. They're always, it's always be recruiting. Just like if you're a salesman, ABS, always be selling. It's like, and then ABC, always be closing. This is a year-round kind of thing, and he's got a good staff. I haven't met the man who came from Bradley that Ali brought in, and I haven't had a time to say I haven't met Dave Pilipovich either. But obviously, Ali's staff coming together, and yeah, they will be busy. Here we go. Speculate on starting lineup and positional reserves. Okay, I'm going to take a shot at it. And, I'll be completely wrong, but I don't care. I'm going to go Rex Steiner point, Pasquarelli 2. You ready for the next one? Kerry Booth 3. And I wanted to talk about that. I actually forgot to mention it. Kerry Booth is, 6'10", and 215 pounds, and projects, a lot of people projected him as kind of a stretch 4. But if you look at his skills and the way I think he might be used, there's a good chance he could play as a 3. If you look at his game and the similarities, and I don't want to put pressure on the young man, but not far, very similar in size and weight to Michael Porter Jr., and a very similar kind of athlete. So, and not that he's as good as MPJ, but a very similar player. And so I could see him at the 3. I could see Kiadulis at the 4, and I can see Rashawn at the 5. Now, could other people move into the 5? Yes. Could you see something where Booth plays the 4 and Kiadoulis comes off the bench and Jevin plays at the 3? Yes. But I would think, and I'm going to guess, and I'm just going to say I'll go with those first 5. I'm going to guess Nunez get lots of minutes off the bench because he's a very versatile player. Nunez, I don't mean Nunez. I meant I meant Muniz. Nunez. What am I thinking? I'm sorry. I'm gonna bitch first time I see Ali. Carey Booth, easy to remember. Jace Butler, easy to remember. And then they give me Pasquarelli, Rex Steiner, Kiadoulis, and and Muniz. And I'm sorry, you made it hard for me, Ali. This old man really struggles, but I can see Muniz being a really strong 6-man kind of player coming off the bench. I can see guys like Butler coming off the bench. I can see McIver coming off the bench. Obviously, we have the 2 bigs coming off the bench as well, Jorgensen and Joppa. So that's what I see. Griff with the KD style wing. Yeah, I don't think he has quite the elusiveness. Kevin Durant is an incredible athlete and really, really fast for a guy that big. And when he puts the ball on the floor, he's a little older now. It doesn't show up. When he was younger, my God, he was a blur at 6'10". He was an absolute blur. But Michael Porter Jr. type who can run the floor, can rebound, can block shots, but can shoot corner threes and can get to the rim. And then maybe Kiadoulis in the more the dunker position, kind of like an Aaron Gordon. And we know how our 5 plays more on the perimeter, setting screens, pick and roll, shooting the occasional 3 ball. So what's this all about? About to sign off. Murder, She Wrote is about to start. Murder, She Wrote? My God, isn't that 100 years old? Anyway, but that's my guess right now. But they'll come in here in June and they'll start working out. The other person I want to bring on, and I'll probably try and bring him on, bring Ali on in a couple of weeks, and then the next person to come on will be in about a month at the start of the summer workouts. I want to bring on Jason Phillips, the strength and conditioning coach, and to talk about what his plans are for the team. And he's a very fun guy, very interesting guy. And then, I started thinking about this, the joy of having all these guys in the portal is I've got 6 Swollapalooza Thursdays already that I could schedule just by bringing on every one of the portal guys and letting you get to know them. So that's 6 weeks of material that take me into July, and then we can do some catch up with the existing players and get reacquainted with Docker Tedeschi and JoJo McIver, who I had on this year as high school seniors on the show. So I've got enough material to take me into September, and then we can start talking about previews and stuff like that and getting a feel for the team. Lee, with this 10 deep roster, the one interesting thing with that is, most coaches, if you look at the way Memphis played when they had injuries, all of a sudden they're down to like 6 or 7. Look at the way Maryland played. They barely played anything beyond their starting 5. And in the end, it's hard. It's hard to play six players. It's hard to play 7. 8 is a nice number if you have really, really good versatile players. Last year, if you look at it, we started with 9. And then once you started seeing when Rashawn got hurt and Nicola came on, and then Nicola started playing his way into minutes, and all of a sudden we're in a 10 player rotation. And so we'll see how Ali does. Ali, I think, will probably try and play something similar. That'll be a good question to ask him if he has any set strategies or if he's flexible. But when I bring him on, that'll be one of the questions we can talk about is what he's looking at doing. So anyway, but yeah, we'll be deep. Question is, are we going to be good enough? And I like to think we will be. Here we go. Baylor currently has 0 on the roster. A lot of teams are it's horrible right now. And we're done. From what I understand, we were talking to somebody. We were interested in somebody who played for Baylor. I wanted too much money. They're going to go for a lot of money. Speculate on this team's ceiling and biggest concern for next year. Top 3, for sure. This team can. I see San Diego State and Boise State and CSU and possibly Utah State, depending on how they do in the portal. After that, I don't see a lot. There's a lot of newness going on there, Griff. So I think top 3. And biggest concern for next year, I talked about the scoring. It's meshing the scoring more than anything and finding rotations and combinations that work. With this many new players, last year was new, and you saw how much we struggled. We had some good players coming back, and we really, really struggled out of the chute. 5-5 in the first 10 games, and didn't look so good doing it, but they stayed with it. This team, there is a little more, I would categorize as experience, at least starting experience, with a lot of these players. Last year was primarily Lake and Clifford, and then a bunch of other guys. This year, we're bringing in portal guys, a lot of whom have started games, so they're very experienced. And I think point guard. I'm not. No, there's enough. We do enough stuff with. I think Recksteiner will be fine. I like JoJo McIver. I hope he gets minutes. I hope he plays good enough to get minutes. But like I said, we have a point forward in Devin. I want to call him Nunez because of that damn politician. But we got Recksteiner and we got Jevin Muniz, who can play a little bit of point forward. I believe Pasquarelli can play on the ball as well. And if you think about how we played last year, Kyan was off the ball a bunch, and we put Neek on the ball. And there were times when we had Lake on the ball initiating stuff as well. So we'll rotate through those guys. And the guys like Butler, the guys like Pasquarelli, and Slater. We'll see Slater, I think, trying to earn minutes. Combo guards that can play on the ball as well. So I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about just them getting here we go. Monty High saying Neek, replacing Neek. That's probably the biggest concern. But then again, we were worried about replacing Isaiah last year. This team is talented, and it'll be a good team. Like I said, I think top 3. It'll be a challenge. I love the staff. I like the core of players, and I think we're in for a good year. But like I said, we'll bring Ali on in a couple of weeks, and we'll break down the roster, and we'll talk about where he thinks he's headed. So anyway, thanks, everybody. I'm going to let everybody go. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for celebrating my jersey retirement with me. That was fun. I appreciate the support. I appreciate everybody being out there. Thanks for joining me on Swollapalooza Thursday. We'll do it again, like I said, probably not next week. I don't think there's here we go. Neek was a weak point. That's pretty funny. Yeah. He was at CU 2 years ago. enough to send him back into a number 1 draft, a first round draft choice, possibly even lottery. Anyway, hey everybody, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for all the great comments. We're building a great community. I'll be back in a couple of weeks with Ali. Keep your eyes and ears open. Anyway, go Rams.